Hello. Oh, it's loud. Hello. We are going to be getting started in about 5 minutes. Grab food, take a seat, get a drink. We're starting soon. right. Hello, everybody. How's everybody feeling? Are y'all ready to recognize some amazing change makers tonight? Y'all, I was more excited when I got my colonoscopy last year than that. Let's go. Come on. Give me that applause. Oh, sorry. Also, everybody, get your colonoscopies. They recommend at 45 now, so... I don't know. This is live, Bernie. So I am going to be your co-MC for the evening. My name is Megan Diaz-Ricks. I am the Community Partnerships Director at Community Shares of Wisconsin. Give it up for Community Shares. And?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bernie Hose, and I am the board chair of Community Shares of Wisconsin. So, thank you. And I, too, will be your other co-MC for the evening. Just a few things I'd like to say that let's give a round of applause, because Community Shares has been a part of the social and environmental justice movement for 52 years. Come on. Thank you. I remember nonprofits are on the front lines of the work, challenging injustice and changing the trajectory of social movements. We are honored to uplift and highlight the work tonight and recognize that there's even more work to be done, and we'll get it done. Thank you for being here with us on this journey, not just tonight, but for your past support and the support that will take us today and into the future. Thank you.
The Wisconsin Union occupies ancestral Ho-Chunk land, a place their nation has called Dejo since time immemorial. In an 1832 treaty, the Ho-Chunk were forced to cede this territory. Decades of ethnic cleansing followed when both the federal and state government repeatedly, though unsuccessfully, sought to forcibly remove the Ho-Chunk from Wisconsin. We acknowledge the circumstances that led to forced removal of the Ho-Chunk people and honor their legacy of resistance. This history of colonization informs our work and vision for a collaborative future. We recognize and respect the inherent sovereignty of the Ho-Chunk Nation and the other 11 First Nations within the boundaries of the state of Wisconsin. And let's move beyond the symbolism of land acknowledgements and commit to actively advocating for the right to Indigenous self-determination, safety, and reparations. We all benefit from stolen land and colonial violence, so we all have a part to play in building a future that lifts Indigenous communities. Thank you. And tonight we have a little bit of a surprise guest, a special guest who will be helping us kick off the evening. He is a phenomenal spoken word artist, poet, educator, father, and I get to call him my husband. Dominique Dom Ricks is the current principal of Cromrie Middle School in Middleton, Wisconsin. A native of South Louisiana, Dom Ricks graduated from a school district known historically for segregation and its failure to prepare students of color and low-income students for postgraduate success. In his teenage years, Dom became aware of the failure of the system surrounding and wanted to make generational change that resulted in socioeconomic and educational inequities plaguing his community. Utilizing his voice as a youth poet in Baton Rouge, he became a youth activist and eventually earned a full-ride scholarship to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, go Badgers, through the First Wave Urban Arts Program for the Artistic, Academic, and Activist Merits. Shout out to First Wave. At UW-Madison, Dom Yes. Dom honed his passion for social justice through the study of sociology, creating rap and theater pieces informed by theory and research, and eventually completing an independent study of real utopias under Professor Eric Olin Wright, the then president of the American Sociological Association. After graduating from UW in 2014, John rejoined his hometown of Baton Rouge, intending to inspire both youth and make change. In his second year, y'all, he's got the longest CV ever. You see why I married him? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. In his second year as a teacher, he was named Teacher of the Year and was recognized by Louisiana Public Broadcasting and PBS as an American graduate, having his classroom during a 24-hour national broadcast special on PBS. The more time he spent in the classroom, the more aware he became of how an educator could achieve excellence in the classroom, and yet students could still be underserved due to the district and administrative level systems. Choosing to further his education, Dom returned to Wisconsin, where he continued to teach middle school and then re-enrolled at the University of Wisconsin-Madison as a grad student to study K-12 administration with a focus on social justice. Performing an original piece entitled Black Spider-Man, please welcome to the stage, Dom Ricks.
How y'all doing? All right. Y'all almost got as much energy as my middle schoolers. My name is Dom Ricks. I'm a principal of Cromrie Middle School in the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District. I have the pleasure and the honor of being the youngest and the first Black principal of the largest middle school in Wisconsin, something I'm very proud of. So every year I get a chance to work with my seventh graders, and one of the things I talk to them about is TED Talks, because in my first year of education, I completed a TED Talk. I talked to them about being a change maker and the things that they can do. This is a poem that I wrote about my son because I want my son to do that as well. I felt it was very fitting. So I share with you my poem. Black Americans have never been short on superheroes. We had one woman. She was so good at moving folks around, people thought she was a railroad, but nobody could track her. Her, she packed light because her shotgun was heavy, and she had to keep one hand empty in hopes that she would catch a break for once. This one brother, he was a scientist. He wasn't mad, but he sure pissed off some bigots the way he revolutionized the damn peanut. And you thought the Hulk was unstoppable? We had this one sister. She was so powerful. When she sat down, nobody could move her. But when she got up, the whole nation felt it. And this one cat led a whole nation of Panthers before we knew Wakanda was forever. But it's hard to explain that to a 4-year-old. So I took my son to see Into the Spider-Verse because I wanted him to see a Black boy prove everyone wrong. I wanted him to see a curly-haired boy shooting webs that branch like roots, connecting him to something, because I want my son to be connected to something. Like a superhero, my son has to balance the weight of two identities, Black and Latino, both with their fair share of supervillains and uniform henchmen. So I want my son to have a spider sense. But I want him to have one with squiggly lines that match his hair's curl pattern, so he knows when a villain approaches and when someone's about to take the last bowl of pozole. And I think Marvel knew what they were doing. See, Miles Morales can turn invisible and come back on his own terms. As a Black man in America, it pays for Miles to disappear and come back on his own terms, because so many others only come back in the form of tears and hashtags. And though some supervillains tweet, they still tend to misread us, mistake Skittles for a six-shooter, the can for a grenade. Our pain as rage, our rage is unjustified. Their lack of empathy is unjustifiable, but the facts are undeniable. They bottle our rage and commodify our pain. So it's no wonder why drinking Arizona while Black feels like an act of resistance. James Baldwin once said, to be Black and conscious in America is to be in a state of constant rage. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And Miles Morales may not be the first Black superhero, but he is my son's. My son turned to me in the theater and said, Daddy, he looks like me. I'm just afraid for the day I turn on the news and he says, Daddy, he looks like me. I wonder what I'll tell him. Don't want to say a bullet in a hung jury is all kryptonite. That when we pass, people care more about our profile picture than how picture perfect our smile is when we stand profile. Hard to explain that having a little weed in the system is why so many people are okay that he's gone. And he's not Miles Morales, so he's only coming back if we tweet him. So I won't say any of that. I'll tell him about the dreamers. I'll tell him about the Justice League. I'll tell him there were fighters and dreamers and people who put right over wrong and decency above everything else. And he'll say, Daddy, I know. Like Spider-Man. Thank you.
Thank you again. I'd like to take the time now to welcome to the stage Sherry Dubio, who is the Executive Director of Community Shares of Wisconsin.
I got music. Yay. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Sherry Dubio. I am the Executive Director of Community Shares of Wisconsin, and we're so pleased to have you here with us tonight. I want to thank Bernie Hose for the welcome. Bernie has been our board chair since 2019, and he's finishing out his final term. He's been fantastic and wonderful, and we're so thankful for you, Bernie. I also want to thank Megan Diaz-Ricks, who is stepping in as a co-MC again this year. I think she brings a lot of beautiful energy to the event. And it's also an honor to share the stage with so many of these amazing change makers in our community. Tonight, we celebrate backyard heroes, nonprofit leaders, business partners, donors, and friends who, working together, transform our community. Before moving into the program, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to the staff of Community Shares of Wisconsin. And I invite the staff to please stand when I announce your name so folks can get to know you. If you've been around Community Shares for a while, you probably already know Kathleen Messenger. She's been our finance director for 22 years. Megan Diaz-Ricks has already introduced herself as our Community Partnerships Director, and she's also, she and Susie, our Susie Lonacek, our Development Manager, if Susie could stand, are the organizers of tonight's event. So let's thank them for their beautiful work. Judy Young is not able to be with us tonight. She unfortunately has COVID. It's back, people. I see all the smart people wearing masks and wondering why I didn't myself. Kiwana Pollard. Kiwana, are you here? There she is. Kiwana is our campaign manager at Community Shares. And Tyler Logan. Hello, Tyler. Where are you? There he is. Tyler is the database manager at Community Shares, and we're so grateful for all of these beautiful staff. We have a couple more folks to recognize. Bria Brown, people may remember Bria from working at Community Shares a number of years ago. She continues to serve in a consulting role and doing some project-based work for us in Atlanta. So I'm hoping she's watching from home in Atlanta. And I also want to acknowledge, of course, the great work that the staff of Design Craft Advertising does for us. They've been doing a lot of our work for a few years now. And I know both Mike and Jordan aren't able to be with us, but I think Valerie might be here. So thanks to all the help, the great folks that we get help from at Design Craft Advertising as well. All right. Thank you. Community Shares of Wisconsin was founded in 1971 by a coalition of activists and college students working for peace and an end to the Vietnam War. Over 50 years later, CSW has grown and evolved and supports nearly 70 member nonprofits that work today for systemic change. Community Shares believes that a grassroots approach to fundraising and community building democratizes philanthropy and helps everyone's contributions add up to make a big difference. For example, did you know that you can work for justice when you go to the grocery store? Chipping in a few cents when you shop at Willie Street Co-op or rounding up at the Capitol Center Market adds up to close to $325,000 a year. So everybody who is chipping and rounding up, we want to thank you. It really adds up. And that's a beautiful example of Community Shares fundraising. Another example of a great opportunity for folks to come together and support the community is the Big Share Online Giving Day. That will be again on the first Tuesday, March 5th, and this will be our 10th annual Big Share, which is a very big deal. So we hope you'll stay tuned for some announcements we'll have about that coming up. And of course, many of you know Community Shares for our workplace giving campaigns. Earlier this month, we kicked off our annual campaign in multiple private and public workplaces around Dane County and the state. I'd like to take a moment now to shout out all the workplace giving donors and employers who offer giving campaigns and are joining us tonight. So if you're at a workplace that does a workplace campaign with Community Shares, let's give you a round of applause. Giving through campaigns with your coworkers and your employer is a great way to come together to build community, and we thank you. And we have a growing segment of donors who have retired from their workplaces that continue to give to our member groups with designated annual gifts or through their donor-advised funds. Annual donors can complete a pledge form similar to their workplace giving pledge form to continue to fund the social and environmental causes that you care about most. And there's also a growing number of legacy gifts from donors who give through their estate plans and wills that have made significant impact on our work. These gifts are always unbudgeted and provide seed money to help us with developing innovative programming. And so if anybody is thinking about leaving Community Shares a legacy gift, please reach out to me. You can find my contact information on our website, or you can call us at 256-1066. And a big thanks, finally, to all of the engaged community members attending tonight who give their time through volunteer work and civic engagement. Supporters of Community Shares are engaged in the community. You are working at the polls on election day, going door to door to encourage people to vote. You educate yourselves on the issues and stay in contact with your elected officials. You voice your concerns about the issues that you will be hearing more about tonight. You all are transforming our community, and we thank you. Our collective efforts are essential to realizing that vision of peace and justice that started Community Shares over 50 years ago. Thank you again, and we encourage you to stay a little later. DJ Payne will be here playing some music again this evening, and so please stay. And I'm going to welcome Bernie back to the stage. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thank you. Nice intro. Need that in the morning sometimes. I would like to now welcome to the stage Victoria Bushi from the UW Credit Union, who is our presenting sponsor for this evening and a phenomenal community partner. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It is with great pleasure that my colleagues and I join you here tonight as the presenting sponsor of the Community Changemaker Awards. I'm Victoria Bushi, Community Engagement Strategist at UW Credit Union, and I'm also a former employee of Community Shares. So it's great to be here. So many familiar faces. I'm excited to celebrate the great impact of the people in this room tonight in good company with all of you. At UW Credit Union, one of our top priorities is to be a force for good where we live and work. As a not-for-profit financial cooperative, it's a part of our mission to improve the financial well-being of people. It's in that spirit that we support our members with low-fee products and services, as well as local nonprofits through things like grant making, partnership, volunteerism, and financial education to make a lasting impact. We're proud to be a part of the credit union movement and that philosophy of people helping people. And we believe that focusing on access to higher education, stable housing, and financial stability are the ways that we can support our community for years to come. We're grateful to partner with Community Shares each year through our community giving campaign, which is run by and for employees. It raises funds for local nonprofits and offers space for employees to learn more about issues impacting our communities. Our employee passion, fun incentives and events, a dollar-for-dollar matching gift, and leadership support are some of the things that make our campaign so successful year after year. Last year, our nearly 900 employees across the state were proud to contribute $53,000 to Community Shares and its member nonprofits. Thank you. Our support of Community Shares is rooted in our values. Their motto, "Together we transform our community," shares one of our top values at the credit union, valuing teamwork. Together, we believe that we can work collaboratively to achieve common goals and celebrate collective success while drawing power, strength, and creativity from our diversity. This diversity brings valuable perspectives to our work and our relationships, and it inspires us to advocate for one another and seek solutions that benefit us all as employees and as members of the credit union. Over 90 years ago on this campus, UW Credit Union was founded by men and women who were true innovators and change makers, ready to make a change for financial well-being for more people. Some of our founders were even connected to organizations that are members of Community Shares today, like the ACLU of Wisconsin and the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. Those organizations are just one of 70 nonprofits represented by Community Shares, who for over 50 years have been playing a pivotal role by bringing the community together to take action on social and environmental justice issues. They take a stand, advocate, and they understand that every voice matters. We are so lucky to have them here in Madison. We're about to hear about the vision and commitment that is making an impact today. I want to congratulate all the award winners and thank you all for your efforts. It is an honor and privilege to be here supporting all of the change makers, as well as surrounded by all of you in this room tonight who take action for our neighbors and our communities. Now let's enjoy our evening together and celebrate and reflect on what we can achieve when we work together.
Thank you again, UW Credit Union. Woo. All right, I am going to welcome to the stage two phenomenal, amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. I have the pleasure of working with Philip Frank from Budget Science and Specialties on a regular occasion. I am not the best client because I'm so needy. I'm always asking for things. I make mistakes, but it's okay because Phil gives me grace and I love you. So please welcome to the stage two of our sponsors of the Backyard Hero Awards, Philip Frank from Budget Science and Specialties and Jason Joyce from Isthmus.
Hi, everyone. Each month, Community Shares of Wisconsin recognizes outstanding CSW groups and volunteers from their member nonprofits who are seldom in the news but are always on the front lines of critical issues that make our community a better place to live.
"2023 Backyard Heroes have impacted our community in so many ways. From working as a diligent bicycle mechanic and board member, to supporting those in mental health and substance use recovery, to highlighting and advocating for the local jazz music community. Our member organizations thrive when they have a robust volunteer network. Thank you to all of the 2023 Backyard Heroes, and thank you to all volunteers working to support Community Shares member groups.
Community Changemaker Awards Backyard Heroes 2023. Gene Welsh, nominated by Sustained Aim. Liv Wutrick, nominated by Sustained Aim. Nivali Miriam, nominated by Wheels for Winners. Ben Bishop, nominated by Sierra Club Foundation, Wisconsin chapter. Michael Rahani, nominated by Sierra Club Foundation, Wisconsin chapter. Shar Arner, nominated by Sierra Club Foundation, Wisconsin chapter. The Chrysalis Backyard Heroes Group, nominated by Chrysalis. The Fair Wisconsin Education Fund, nominated by Fair Wisconsin. Josephine Joe Oyama Miller, nominated by Project Home. Jane Reynolds, nominated by Ward 89.9 FM. Maggie Munson, nominated by Midwest Environmental Advocates. Jamie Campbell, nominated by Wheels for Winners. Jenny Lujan, nominated by Chrysalis. Claire Wiley, nominated by Wisconsin Wetlands. Thank you, 2023 Backyard Heroes.
We would like to ask all the 2023 Backyard Heroes in the room with us this evening to join us on stage to be recognized.
Keep it going, keep it going. You want to come this way? Get a picture? Thanks, y'all. You can exit either way. Thank you again, Backyard Heroes. Right now, I would like to give an acknowledgement to our digital sponsor. Our digital sponsor makes things like our streaming possible for folks who'd like to enjoy the program hybrid, and also our interpretation services, which we can agree are very, very important. So thank you so much. Can we give a shout out to our interpreters who are joining us remotely right now? True Stage Foundation believes in supporting the communities they serve with the knowledge and resources to help them move forward, from investing personal time to providing corporate sponsorships. Their employees and the True Stage Foundation truly give back. In 2022, their workforce and the True Stage Foundation proudly gave back in many ways. $4.9 million contributed to support the communities they serve, $464,000 raised by the workforce for nonprofits, and over 3,400 volunteer hours logged. Thanks again to True Stage for being our digital media sponsor.
I'm here to talk to you about the Community Shares Collaboration Award. One of the great advantages of membership at Community Shares is the networking and collaboration available between our member groups. Every year, new connections are made and new collaborations are built between member nonprofits. Their work together makes our community so much stronger. This award recognizes community share member nonprofits that demonstrate the power of collaboration with their coordinated efforts to lead impactful social justice change within our community. This year's winners, the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Conservation Voices, are being recognized for coming together to find new ways to engage and affect public policy.
Collaboration Award for the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition. Various video clips of news stories.
Wisconsin's legislative maps.
Political maps.
The coalition organized rallies today to end gerrymandering,
calling for redistricting to be taken out of the hands of politicians.
I think all of us in the fair map space have really been committed to ensuring that our votes count, that our voice is heard when we're at the ballot box. Good afternoon, I'm Deborah Kronmiller. I'm the Executive Director for the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. And what we all realized after the maps were enacted in 2011 was that these extremely gerrymandered maps would not result in representative government.
I'm Anjali Basine. I'm the Civic Engagement Director of Wisconsin Conservation Voices. I believe gerrymandering is essentially folks who have power wanting to continue to retain power so that they're able to maintain control and that people don't have full and fair representation.
Hey, Matt Rothschild here. I'm the former executive director of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. And one of the first things we did was try to pass these referendums or resolutions, non-binding, but still kind of a temperature of the citizens of whatever city or county was passing these referendums, and they passed all the time.
Image of newspaper clip that reads nonpartisan redistricting. Fair maps, yes or no?
In the beginning, we were thinking, well, we'd be lucky to get maybe a third of the counties to pass these referendums or resolutions. And we quickly got to a half, 50%. When we got to 50%, we held a little event at the Capitol in February or March.
Image of Matt with a basketball at a press conference with a purple shirt that says people surrounded by protesters.
Then we did a basketball game, a rigged basketball game to illustrate how gerrymandering is rigged against one side. So ultimately, 57 counties in Wisconsin out of the 72 have passed referendums or resolutions. The vast majority of Wisconsinites want to ban gerrymandering.
I'm Carleen Beshen. I am a retired educator. I've been pretty politically active my entire life. Through some work I was doing, I was hired to be the grassroots organizing director with the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition, which I did for about 3.5 years.
News clipping of Carleen Beshen speaking in front of the Capitol.
Basically saying we'll have to endure unconstitutional maps for another 10 years. Well, we won't stand for it. I just became increasingly frustrated as a public educator that I would join the folks at Wisconsin Public Education Network and go to public hearings of the Joint Finance Committee. And again and again and again, the testimony of the majority of the folks was just ignored because the partisan balance in our state legislature made our legislators unaccountable to us.
And we had to get to the bottom of what was the gerrymander, which is partisanship. Then fast forward to 2020, another census. Again, we get maps that are extremely gerrymandered, put together by a very partisan legislature who openly admitted when they presented the maps at the public hearing that they were indeed influenced by partisanship. And we all kind of doubled down at that point.
Image in front of the Capitol with protest signs that read, "Justice equals fair maps, no packing, stacking, cracking, and fair courts equals fair maps."
Without a healthy democracy, we can't have a healthy environment. We also know we can't have a healthy democracy without fair maps and places where people can have fair representation.
This small but mighty grassroots organization that I'm part of called the Oregon Area Progressives decided that we wanted to do something about it. We'd heard lots and lots of organizations say, call your legislators. We'd done that. It was not working. So in November of 2019, we organized a summit in Marshfield, Wisconsin. We had national and state experts do educational presentations in the morning. And in the afternoon, we had action workshops. 180 people, grassroots folks, showed up for that in Marshfield. And at lunch and at the end of the day, we had them meet in regional groups to talk about what they saw in their area, what they learned from the action network, action workshops, what they learned about how gerrymandering works and how it impacts them, to think and talk about what they thought they could do besides call legislators in their area.
Yeah, the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition has been a model of collaboration. We've recognized that we have to work together on this issue if we're going to get anywhere. No single individual, no single organization can ban gerrymandering once and for all in Wisconsin.
Activists around the state, people who have been really engaged in political movements before, and folks who are just new to this, have been the catalyst and really the impetus for the entire movement. So over the last couple of years, there have been thousands of letters to the editor written.
Image inside the Capitol with protesters, with signs reading "End gerrymandering, we demand fair maps."
In collaboration with the League of Women Voters, printed 22,500 brochures that were distributed to activists around the state in January of 2021.
Video of protesters walking on a snowy day near the Capitol.
We had rallies on the coldest day of the year at courthouses in 17 places, simultaneous rallies in 17 places around the state in front of courthouses saying, fair courts will give us fair maps. There were over 1,000 people who showed up for those rallies on a super cold day in January.
Video of a rally for fair maps in Milwaukee.
So much grassroots activism around this issue. It's so clear that people in this state are frustrated and they want resolution to this.
Here in Wisconsin, we actually have two visions for how to get stronger, more fair maps in the state. The first is to actually amend our Constitution to ensure that our maps are drawn in a fair, nonpartisan way. The short-term option would be to enact legislation. So through law, we could prevent some of the what I'll call shenanigans that happened after the 2020 election. But what we really need to concentrate on from now until the 2030 census is that permanent fix. First through legislation, then through constitutional amendment.
I live in hope and I am the eternal optimist. I believe that if we work together, we can achieve absolutely anything.
Please join me and continue to give our warm welcome to Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, Deborah Cronmiller from the League of Women Voters, Anjali Basin from Wisconsin Conservation Voices, and Carleen Beshin for Fair Maps Coalition. Thank you.
There's a microphone, so I'm going to take it. You may know that there's a lot going on with this right now. You might have heard a few things. We just want everybody in this room to know that this is a long-term problem, and the short-term fixes that might come from litigation. I'm actually working now. I retired from the Fair Maps Coalition. I'm working for Law Forward, and you may know that we brought litigation. That will be a very short-term fix, if it's a fix, and it's only about the current maps. It is not the process solution that we need. So please, please stay engaged with this issue no matter what happens in the courts, and help us to change the system for the long term.
I want to take a moment just to acknowledge Community Shares of Wisconsin for recognizing this important work. This has been a long journey, and the journey is not complete, as you all just heard. It's critically important, I think, when we look around the room at each other and think to ourselves, can we make change? The answer to that question is yes, but it takes all of us in it together, committed, true to heart, that we will succeed. And I think that's the commitment that all of us have in this place right now.
I just want to thank Community Shares of Wisconsin and all the activists who have been working on this issue over many, many years. And it's great to see so many great activists right here in this hall. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, picture. Thank you so much again to our Collaboration Award winners. Watching that video, I love it. It just gets me fired up. So I hope everyone else is feeling the same way. Yeah. So right now I would like to welcome Sherry to the stage to introduce our next award. Okay. I guess, well, yeah, sorry. Sorry, Sherry. Woo! Music to the position.
Hi, thank you. Sorry about that. I was eating. Luckily, I get to introduce the Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2021, we presented our first ever Lifetime Achievement Award to our former executive director, Crystal Anders. And last year, we bestowed a Lifetime Achievement Award posthumously to Dick Wagner. Tonight's Lifetime Achievement Award is being presented to a person who has made a transformative impact on so many individuals and organizations in our community. We are honored to present this award tonight. Please enjoy this video that encompasses only a small, but nevertheless a mighty picture of her great impact.
I don't remember not knowing Julie in Madison, and I've been here 23 years.
Lifetime Achievement Award, Julie Anderson. Images of Julie and friends and colleagues in Kenya in 1987. Voice of Mary Clover.
I'm currently reading this book called A More Beautiful Question. It's really kind of about this idea that a lot of what we think we're supposed to have is answers, but what we really should be focused on in a changing world is what is the right question to be asking in this situation? How do you ask a beautiful question? I think Julie has a gift for asking those kinds of questions and getting you to think about approaching you in a way that would be like, that's something worth thinking about.
Voice of Becca Krantz.
I thought of it as powerful questions and Julie brings that grace that, like I often hear her voice in my head saying, yes, and she really embodies that.
Julie Anderson has worked for 40 years in social, racial, economic, and environmental justice, crossing multiple boundaries to connect people with each other, ideas, and their individual and collective power. Images of Julie, colleagues, and friends in Nicaragua in 2001.
She just has this like sort of lifelong commitment to justice. She's seen so many different ways of approaching it. So she did community organizing in a style, like a Saul Alinsky style of community organizing is kind of what I would describe what we did. She went to school, to study at Iowa State, then went to Nicaragua and looked at, how women collectives were working. She's approached issues of justice from so many different angles that she has this very wide understanding of it and brings all of that, those different experiences to the table.
Mary Clover, former colleague.
Early to mid 90s is when I worked with Julie. She was the director of a chapter of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement, the Des Moines chapter. And so she was just right in there working with I would call everyday people to help them think through how are we going to change this? What are we going to do to make this different?
Without her leadership, I don't think that WCCN would have survived and become the successful microfinance institution that it is today. During her time at WCCN, we took in more than $1 million in investments and began diversifying our lending to multiple new organizations. Thanks to the changes that Julie introduced, WCCN has subsequently invested more than $160 million to support individuals, families, and communities by sustaining partnerships with microfinance organizations and agricultural cooperatives in Colombia, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, and Peru. Sheldon Rampton, WCCN, voice of Becca Krantz, CORE.
When we really got to know each other, she was in school again, getting this certificate in sustainability leadership from Edgewood College here. And she interviewed me for her project for that. And as I was talking to her, it became clear to me, oh, she's going to be on the job market when she finishes this program. And I was just starting CORE, where we were working on capacity building for organizations. And I talked to my husband who knew her, and I talked to our
images from CORE
and Sue Lloyd, who had hired her at the Wisconsin Apprentice Organizers Project. And I said, do you think I should try to hire Julie for CORE? And Art said, she's going to be snapped up like that as soon as she's on the market. You better act fast if you want her. Yes, but yes, if you could get Julie for anything, hire her for anything, you possibly could hire her for. And he was totally right. It's been amazing working with her for 10 years.
Working and being friends with Julie Anderson has had a tremendous impact on us. Images from WCCN in the 2000s. Julie's integrity and her beliefs and values inspired those she worked with, helping us to envision changing our individual and community beliefs about domestic violence. Her organizing spirit and dedication to making spaces for everyone's voice helped us build partnerships across the state with local organizations trying to end abuse. Julie's power is not loud. She gently asks questions that challenge and encourage people to discover and grow. Folks who know Julie and have had the pleasure to work with her know that she pours herself into everything she does. She is steadfast in her advocacy for community members, collaborators, and coworkers. In her work and in her life, she earns the trust of others and works to benefit us all. From In Domestic Abuse Wisconsin staff.
My name is Jeffrey Lewis, and I'm the executive director for Natural Circles of Support. Becca invited me to be a part of a process that they were undergoing to sort of re-envision and reimagine their work, their philanthropy work. And Julie was very involved with that. I think at that time I'd also began sitting with the core circles that Julie has organized. And so I got to know her somewhat informally in both those contexts. So that was sort of the beginning of my relationship with Julie. But the relationship became deeper, I guess, and impactful on me anyway, when Becca and Don offered Natural Circles a 3-year grant. It came at a time when our organization was really not sure how we were going to continue. We had a vision for how we wanted to work. We needed bridge money, and the funds came from Don and Becca. But Julie came along with that, and that was, in some ways, the biggest gift. The money was necessary, but it was so much more with what Julie brought. But what Julie really became was a deeply interested person, someone deeply interested in our work and trying to understand what our work was and how to communicate it to others who might also be able to support the work. Julie brought with it just a deep understanding, I would say, and a deep heart that's about caring for the world. It really is about this question of how do we bring people together? How do we make connections, connect people in such a way that we can do work that's transformative?
Voice of Kashua Ba from Freedom Inc.
I mean, we've partnered in many different ways, but our beginning of our relationship actually started when Julie was running AOP, which is an apprentice organizing project. And Julie placed several organizers with Freedom Inc. And so Julie and I started to work with each other during that time. And then we also briefly worked in partnership and together when Julie worked at the State Coalition to End Domestic Violence. All through the years, no matter where Julie went, Julie was a strong supporter of Freedom Inc. and our mission and our work to end domestic violence or gender-based violence within queer, Black and Southeast Asian communities. And it's really hard to find white allies that you can really count on, and Julie has been that.
My name is Barbara Jackson. Friends and family call me Bobby. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids. And my first grandchild this year.
I'm Cameron. I'm a sophomore in high school, I guess.
She is Cameron's big sister from Big Brother's Big Sister. We met Julie in 2013, I believe. And we've been family ever since.
She has always been kind of like an actual real big sister.
Image of Cameron and Julie at Hamilton.
I feel safe around her. I feel like I can be emotionally safe around her a lot. And I think in a lot of ways it's kind of hard for me to be. So I'm happy to have that connection with her and to have as many experiences I've had with her. It's just very nice and I'm just very happy for her to be in my life.
Image of Cameron and Julie on a boat.
We love Julie and we're happy that she's getting this award. It's about time.
Oh, yeah, definitely about time. Definitely.
Thank you, Julie, for your decades of dedication to community work.
Since I have an opportunity to come up here, I wanted to acknowledge that I've known Julie for much of my lifetime as well. I first met Julie on a delegation, a Women's Empowerment Project delegation to Nicaragua in the early 90s. I was either a sophomore or a junior in high school, something like that. And not only was it my first time flying internationally, but it was my first time flying. And so I was this farm girl branching out into the world. And I got to meet Julie there, and we've been together working side by side on different issues ever since. But let me take an opportunity now to introduce to the stage Rebecca Krantz, founder of CORE.
I'm Becca Krantz. I'm the founder of CORE, where through funding and relationships, we spread and deepen core practices for social transformation. Julie Anderson has been the lead staff person at CORE for 10 years. As she started to plan for her gradual retirement, I nominated her for this Lifetime Achievement Award because Community Shares is great at recognizing people whose quiet leadership could get overlooked. Thankfully, I did take Art Lloyd's advice and hired Julie, despite some brilliant competition. Around that time, I read Susan Cain's book, Quiet, about the dangers of undervaluing the contributions of introverts, and it helped me appreciate Julie's unassuming style. Humility seems to come naturally to her. Though over the years I have learned she's also capable of pushing back gently if her talents are being discounted. An example of Julie's humility was when she heard about this award. She said, "How can we make this not just about me, but about the good of the whole?" It reminded me of a song by Cy Khan about Madison's movement icon, Clarence Kalin. Cy quotes Clarence as saying, "All songs of praise should be both modest and collective." And then Cy sings, "So all together let us form a mighty potluck choir and simply say to Clarence, 'You have raised our voices higher.'" Though CORE doesn't usually have potlucks, we have had many gatherings. If you've been involved with CORE in some way, please stand up or raise your hand now. Thank you all for being here tonight. And there were many people who couldn't be here in person who would have wanted to also. One of CORE's stalwarts, Bert Stitt, who is here tonight, encouraged us from the beginning to use the phrase yes and rather than yes but during our conversations. Julie adopted this practice wholeheartedly, modeling its use regularly. So here's a yes and. Yes, CORE has always been a collaboration, and we wouldn't have done what we've done without Julie. Julie's a rare person who's good at both big picture visionary thinking and attention to detail. Above all, she's good at relationships, which are the heart of our work. At the heart of relationship is trust. I once read that every interaction that doesn't build trust undermines it. Think about that, especially in today's world. Every interaction that doesn't build trust undermines it. Trust has multiple dimensions. There's trust in a person's integrity, trust in their skill, trust in their communication and their follow-through. Julie isn't perfect, none of us is, but she is trustworthy on all these levels. In the first few weeks that we worked together, I asked to review Julie's important emails before she sent them. I was consistently impressed by not only the competence, but the nuance and grace of her communications. I was so grateful to realize that I could stop supervising her closely because I could trust her to build trust with our colleagues. I'm a person who thrives on having a trusted co-thinker, and Julie and I have gotten so good at this that we joke about the Vulcan mind meld. I could not have wished for a better partner in this work. Julie, you have raised my voice higher. Over the years, the work of CORE has included many facets, from matchmaking between consultants and organizations, to weaving a network of consultants, organizations, and funders, to grant making at the intersection of inner and outer change, to accompanying change makers as they explore and adopt new practices for social transformation. Throughout, Julie's energy, thinking, and caring have been key. Her deep commitment to equity has nudged us to make more space for marginalized voices. And she reminds us to see not only the most visible leaders, but those throughout an organization or community. Julie accomplishes this nudging in a supportive rather than a confrontational way, using powerful questions to draw forth others' ideas. Julie brought to CORE trusting relationships she had developed over many years in the social justice community, providing us with much more solid footing than we would have had otherwise. Through CORE, Julie has supported or continued to support the work of many individual changemakers, projects, and organizations, including, to name just a few, Creando Espacio para Bienestar, Freedom Inc., Institute for Collective Wellbeing, Latino Academy for Workforce Development, Natural Circles of Support, Peer Outreach Safe Homes, and Unidos. In a moment, I'll turn the mic over to Veronica Figueroa Velez to talk about Julie's impact on the ground at Unidos. Before I do that, I want to close with words inspired by Sai Khan. All together, let us form a mighty circle choir to simply say to Julie, "You have raised our voices higher." Veronica Figueroa Velez.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to this event and showing up your support for Community Shares. I'm also on the board of Community Shares. My name is Veronica Figueroa Velez, Executive Director of DAMA, known as Developing Artists, Murals, and Alliances. To say that I am delighted and honored to present this award is an understatement. Julie has been an inspiration to many people sitting in this room today, including me. I met Julie in 2011 through Cecilia Gilhouse, the former director of Unidos Against Domestic Violence, as I was hired to do the work of the domestic violence advocate for the state. Later, Julie became my best ally, my cheerleader, my mentor, my inspiration, and my friend, as I took the task of filling the shoes of Cecilia as the new executive director of Unidos from 2014 to 2021. Her support for Unidos became even more critical during the pandemic as we continued to support victims in the midst of a pandemic while we were also struggling to navigate safety for our clients, ourselves, and our families. Her contributions to Unidos Against Domestic Violence continues to make an impact today as she continues to support Unidos staff and the new executive director here with us today. As a Latina in a leadership role, the work can be gratifying and also exhausting and lonely. Having people like Julie by your side, guiding you and supporting you makes the load lighter. Julie's mentorship, support, and friendship throughout the years have taught me a lot about myself, have helped me grow and develop my leadership skills, and have pushed me out of my comfort zone in ways that have built my ability to serve and stay grounded. You have lifted me up when I no longer had the energy or the strength to do so. Thank you for raising my voice higher. For that and for so much more, I thank you and appreciate your presence in my life and in my journey. Thank you, Julie, for your selflessness and kindness to all who have supported, who you have supported and continue to support throughout the years. You are a blessing to all of us who have had the pleasure to know you and been touched by you. Without further ado, I present this award to Julie Anderson.
Okay, I'm supposed to talk after this? Wow. Okay, I'm probably going to cry, and I'm not going to look at my sister because I know that will make me cry even more. But it's really such an honor and joy to be with here, all of you today. And it's such an honor to be honored with the Backyard Heroes, the collaborating organizations with Denise and Ana Maria and Mark. So I'm really feel quite honored. And I feel quite overwhelmed by this video and to hear voices I never expected to hear. And people are really good at keeping secrets, I have to say. So it feels like a lot of attention on me right now. So let's talk about us. Let's talk about you for a little bit. And first, I'd like to center the values that have been my North Star for this journey. That the beloved community is a world that centers justice, love, well-being, and thriving for all people, for our planet, and all beings who inhabit it. And so that has been my North Star, and for many of us. First, I just want to say thanks to Becca Krantz. Like, how beautiful was that? And as she said, we've been colleagues for 10 years now at CORE, and that's the longest I've worked for any organization. So it says a lot about Becca, and it says a lot about the CORE community. So thank you. And it was a huge number of people that have participated in CORE in one way or another. So I am so grateful to all of you for being my learning partners, my friends, and my community. And thank you, Becca, for seeing me in a way that led you to nominate me for this award, to see the quiet part, the leadership within the quiet. Thank you, Vero, for that beautiful introduction. I'm quite moved, and all the organizations I've worked for are close to my heart, and Unidos, I hold you all very close in my heart. I want to give a deep shout out for deep love and gratitude for my family members, my birth family and marriage family. So my mom and my brother and my aunt and uncle came from Iowa to celebrate with us here. And then my sister came from South Dakota and surprised me last night to be here. It's a long ways to Rapid City, South Dakota, so I really appreciate that she also made the journey. I just want to take a moment before I mention other family members. Oh, I also want to say my sisters-in-law, who came from eastern Wisconsin to be here to Grafton. They drove a couple hours to be here. So thank you also for coming this long. I want to express some special gratitude to my parents. My dad is no longer with us, but to my mom and my dad, who showed us the importance of community through example of how they lived their lives. They showed us that building a community where everyone can thrive is just a way of being in the world. And it's not a job or it's not a role, it's their way of being. And I'm also grateful to my parents that in rural Iowa, they were able to extend our sense of family and our experience of the diversity of the world by opening our home to official and unofficial foster family to dozens of kids, from infants to teens and even some young adults. So that really deepened and broadened our compassion and our ability to connect and understand with a variety of people. I want to give a thanks and much love to my husband, Steve, who I've been lucky to be married to for the past 19 years. You inspire me and ground me with your support and unconditional love. And we have a lot of fun, so yeah. Yes. And shout out of love and gratitude to my other little sister, Cameron, and her mom, her lovely mom, Barbara. And as you saw in the video, Big Brothers Big Sisters introduced us years ago. And it's our heart connection that keeps us learning and growing together. I want to give thanks and love to all my friends who have come today. Many who have come today and have created community with me through so many ups and downs. We have traveled many roads together, both literally and figuratively. And I'm grateful for the fun, the challenges, and the learnings that we share. And thanks to Community Shares. What a great name and concept. Our community is better when we share and care for each other and the planet. So that's just a beautiful thing to be together here for. And thanks to the Community Share staff who've worked so hard, who work hard every day, right, to build community and to connect us together, and who've worked hard to put on this event. I've worked and volunteered with a lot of organizations, and I'm so grateful to all my mentors, colleagues, coworkers, volunteers, and interns. And many of those people have played multiple roles, right? My mentor and an intern. And so I'm grateful to all of them and for all the journey and the learning. The people and the work that I've engaged with over the years have shaped and continue to shape me, who I am and how I see the world. Nearly 30 years ago, I moved to Madison to be the executive director of the Wisconsin, what was then known as the Wisconsin Coordinating Council on Nicaragua. I was really drawn to WCCN to be part of an organization that's intentional about building connections across borders, physical, political, economic, cultural. And it turns out that not just that job, but much of life is about seeing and deconstructing the borders that lie within and among us that keep us divided from ourselves and each other and the natural world. And part of the work of dismantling borders and building community is about the everyday showing up. So thanks for showing up. It's for showing up for the unseen, gritty work, as well as the exciting and visible actions and the glamour. It's about supporting each other in our learning and failures, as well as in our accomplishments. It's about being in relationship with and caring for each other. And it's seeing beloved community not only as the North Star that we will get to someday, but also as moments and connections right now within our current chaos of divisions, violence, and so much that's going wrong. I'm not trying to sugarcoat or be blindly Pollyannish about this, but as I know that many of our systems and relationships are profoundly broken, we heard great examples of that with the Fair Maps Coalition Group, and we frequently fail at our attempts to remedy them. The systems of oppression are thriving and alive within and among us. And, yes, and we also have beauty and love and connection and the beloved community within and among us right now that we can feel and sense when we are paying attention. I just want to share a quote from Amanda Gorman, who's the National Youth Poet Laureate, and some of her poem from Of the Hill We Climb. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. I know we can be brave enough when we are in true relationship with each other. So thanks to all of you for showing up for others in your daily life, for the gritty and the glamorous work that you do, and for showing up today. And to to Community Shares of Wisconsin for providing opportunities for us to be connected. It's a privilege to be in community with all of you. Thank you.
That was, wow. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling grateful. Thank you again, Julie, for everything you do. The other day I was in a meeting with Julie and I made a suggestion and I felt like maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Sometimes we make ourselves small when we feel like we're too big, we're taking up too much space. And I said, I apologized in the meeting. I said, I'm sorry for throwing a wrench in our plan. And then Julie just took a moment and she looked around. She said, I don't see a wrench flying around anywhere. And it was just a beautiful thing. It brought me back to center, and I think that Julie does that for a lot of us. And so I'm grateful I get to work with you, and thank you again for all of your amazing work. Before I start crying, thank you. So we are at our final part of our program this evening. Thank you all for being here with us. Every year we honor 3 local social and environmental justice leaders nominated by our member groups with our annual Changemaker Awards. Each CSW member group can nominate 1 individual per year for one of the following awards. The Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award, given to an individual whose work has had a significant impact on the lives of families. The Liesl Blockstein Community Leadership Award, given to an individual who has exhibited exceptional leadership skills in working with grassroots level for social change. And the Linda Sundberg Civil Rights Defender Award, given to an individual whose passion for civil rights has improved the lives of others. Let's get ready to celebrate Ana Maria Peralta, winner of the Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award. Ana Maria was nominated by Nuestro Mundo.
Ana Maria Peralta, Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award, nominated by Nuestro Mundo, Inc. Image of Ana Maria smiling in a red. Ana Maria Peralta, Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award, nominated by Nuestro Mundo, Inc. Image of Ana Maria smiling in a red shirt. Ana Maria and Josh are sitting side by side in conversation. Ana Maria is wearing a black shirt and Josh is wearing a blue button-down.
My name is Joshua Forhan. I'm the principal at Nuestro Mundo Community School in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm here on behalf of Nuestro Mundo Incorporated, who has nominated Ana Maria Peralta for the CSW Changemaker Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award.
Thank you. Hello. As Josh mentioned, my name is Ana Maria Peralta, and I am the bilingual resource specialist here at Nuestro Mundo School.
What are some of the unique contributions that you bring to our school?
Well, I love to work with our families. I'm always here to help the families.
Image of Ana Maria working with a parent.
I've been creating a community within the families and the school. So working in having events and promoting all the information for the families. And I think our big highlight is the food pantry. And also we offer English classes for our families.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about the pantry and the process that you took to get it up and running and some of the work that it entails for you?
Yes, I as I mentioned, I love the pantry. That's my baby, the pantry, the food pantry. So I was inspired by my colleague at Leopold, my colleague Rosie, and I saw that they had a food pantry within the school.
Images of the food pantry at Nuestro Mundo School.
And I say, well, we can have another one, a pantry as well.
Ana Maria working at the food pantry.
I asked Josh and he supported me from the last minute. We're here, we have our pantry every week. And not only for the food, but it's a nice opportunity for me and for the families to connect, to get together, to talk. I give them updates of what's happening, what's going on, what's coming. And I can answer their questions. I can connect them with the resource that they need, with the teachers, if they need to talk with the principal, whatever they need. It's a wonderful opportunity to get together and to know the families here at the food pantry.
Please welcome to the stage Ixayana Nelson from Summit Credit Union, who is our award sponsor.
Hello, I'm Ixayana Nelson, Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Manager at Summit Credit Union. We at the Credit Union are glad to return to this event year after year to help celebrate community shares, their members, nonprofits, and all of the amazing volunteers who continue to advance social and environmental justice in our communities. Thank you all and congratulations to tonight's Changemakers. Summit's vision is to create long-term sustainability for employees, members, community, and the environment. And we are honored to sponsor the Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award. Sally Sunday worked as an adult and family therapist with the Rainbow Project and represented the organization on the Community Shares of Wisconsin Board from 1985 until her death in 1988. We are proud to be part of recognizing those who continue in Sally's footsteps, including this year's winner, Ana Maria Peralta. I would now like to introduce our nominator, Nuestro Mundo, to present the award to Ana Maria and to share more about her incredible, impactful work.
Thank you, Ixiana, and thank you, Summit Credit Union, for sponsoring the nomination of Ana Maria Peralta for this award, the Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award. My name is Nina Nelsa-Stewin, and I'm here as a board member on behalf of Nuestro Mundo Incorporated, or NMI. NMI is a working board that advocates for social justice through quality dual language immersion programs in MMSD, and specially serves Nuestro Mundo Community School, its students, and its families. Ana Maria is a bilingual resource specialist at Nuestro Community School, but the impact she has goes far beyond her work as a translator and interpreter within Nuestro Mundo. As Nuestro Mundo's bilingual resource specialist, Ana Maria is often the very first person our families communicate with when they join our community school. And she continues to serve as the diligent and trusted point person for two-way communication between the school and families. She is, in this respect, the glue that holds our community together, helping to build enduring bonds between parents and guardians, and teachers and other support staff, and ultimately ensuring that the experience our students have are positive ones, which lead to better educational outcomes and better lives. When families communicate both with her and through her, they feel a sense of belonging, that their languages and cultures are not just recognized and seen, but also seen as assets for our community. She helps families navigate the ins and outs of our school and district, and in doing so, fosters an environment in which families are empowered to be engaged and active participants in our school community and beyond. But Ana Maria's work and the impact she has also extends beyond the school walls. For instance, she regularly welcomes newcomers to the area to find furniture and other items for their homes. She is also founder of the Food Pantry, which she coordinates in partnership with the Second Harvest Food Bank, and which provides weekly groceries to about 25 families on average. At the height of the COVID-19 outbreak, she even took the Food Pantry mobile, visiting neighborhoods where families reside. The Nuestro Mundo Food Pantry has provided the equivalent of over 170,000 meals and counting to this day. And as that were not enough, she even spearheads an annual donation event amongst teachers at Nuestro Mundo, the proceeds from which she sends to a school in Colombia. Ana Maria has had an immense impact on countless families in our communities over the years. She fosters relationships in the broader community and thoughtfully considers our families and students' physical and emotional health, their sense of well-being, and their overall belonging. Colleagues and families are grateful for Ana Maria's dedication, inventiveness, and efforts to bring about community and unity. She is, as one colleague put it, a Nuestro Mundo treasure. On behalf of MNI and with the support of Summit Credit Union, it is my pleasure to welcome Ana Maria Peralta to the stage as the recipient of the Sunday Sally Family Advocate Award.
Yeah. Thank you, Nina. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for making me the recipient of the Sally Sunday Family Advocate Award. I feel honored and humbly receive this award with a lot of gratitude. I think this is a team effort where we combine our values and motivations with important organizations and sponsors to work together for the benefit of our community members. We offer the best of ourselves, our love, time, passion, and dedication, along with all resources available to support and strengthen our communities. As a community member, I am committed to help families and children, not only academically, but also given information and guidance in different fields, such as navigating the educational system, advocate the best for the families, and overcome the barrier of the language, among others. In addition, we offer classes for adults and a weekly food pantry on site open to all. I believe if we provide a holistic support, it will lead to students and families' success and well-being. For me, collaborating, helping, and serving everyone I find in my path is something very important in my life. It's in my core. I'm always ready to give a hand to my family members, friends, colleagues, and my community. 2 years ago, I survived a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. And pondering about it, I realized that I'm still here to serve at any capacity as much as I can. That's my purpose and my mission. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for your work. Ana Maria, the whole time I was thinking about, I think a lot of us know that demand for food pantry is really high right now, exorbitant, and we know that that's a necessary resource, and you made that your baby, and you're feeding children and families, and that's really important. Children can't learn if they're hungry, and their families can't support them if they're wondering where their next meal will come from. So your work is very impactful. Thank you so much. Next, we are happy to celebrate Maren Denning, who is tonight's winner of the Liesl Blockstein Community Leadership Award. I would like to take a moment to caution that the following video does contain sensitive content related to the discussion of suicide.
Warning, this video contains discussion of suicide. Maren Mark Dennings, Liesl Blockstein Community Leadership Award, nominated by the Wisconsin Conservation Voices. Anne and Mark are in conversation in a white gallery. Anne is wearing black with a multicolored scarf.
What are you most proud of in the work that you do? Is there one thing that stands out with what you do?
Maren is wearing a blue button-down shirt, a beaded necklace, and a black vest.
And I think the perspective that was brought to me by one of my great teachers, Edwin Aban Benesi, he said to know the wound, you have to know what caused it. And I think of all the things that I've had accomplished, or the things that have followed me, or the systems that have come in place or been modified to work in our community. I can't pick one. It's that difficult because when you live in the mind of the we, meaning this is about all of us, not just one person. It can't ever be about just one thing. But on a personal note, the thing that I am most proud of is a family that helped me, the family that was, and those people that are no longer here, that were to be people of the future but never were. And those would be my kids. I'm proud of them, and I miss them every day. But their life story that's been written on this earth isn't done yet, because them losing their lives to suicide, there's a story there. And when people don't see us or don't hear a young girl going to her college for help, and the college saying, we can help you to deal with these thoughts that you have, there's something wrong. There's something that needs to be changed. And it wasn't my kids that were wrong. It's a society that tells us that we're individuals and we're alone. The loneliness of the spirit must be fought back for all of our children and all of our adults and all of our people.
Pink-toned image of Marin walking with one person in a city street. Marin is holding a staff in the air, and the image reads, resist. In loving memory, Isabel, 1994 to 2016, Sawyer, 1988 to 2019, and Taylor, 1987 to 2016. If you or someone you know is struggling, call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, available 24/7 in English and Spanish.
Something I wanted to do that we didn't plan. I know when we share these crisis hotlines, it's a great resource. But I want to read something that was really profound to me that I read today, and I feel like I need to share it. So, what suicide prevention actually is: food security, affordable housing, youth suicide prevention courses, peer norm activities, affordable health care, housing stabilization policies, destigmatizing mental illnesses, community engagement activities, destigmatizing mental health care, strengthening household financial security, increasing accessibility to mental health care, parenting skills and family relationship programs, and family acceptance of individuals who identify as LGBTQIA+. That is from #WeAreNavajo. So thank you. And please welcome to the stage Jason Stevens from Wegner CPAs, who is our award sponsor.
Hi, my name is Jason Stevens. I'm a partner with Wegner CPAs. I've been working in the nonprofit group at Wegner for almost a quarter century now, 25 years. It's a long time. Thanks, Kathleen, if that was you. I truly enjoy feeling like I'm doing a very small piece, a very small part of helping nonprofits out. Not near as much as most of the rest of you in this room are doing, but a small piece. I truly take pleasure in helping nonprofits out in what we do. Wegner CPAs has been around for nearly 75 years, and we've been working with nonprofit organizations as a major focus of ours for the last 35 years or so. In our assurance department, we try to hire people who share our passion for nonprofit organizations, and many of them come to work for us because that's what they want to do is work on audits for nonprofits. So we provide audit services to several hundred nonprofits, not just in the Madison area, but the state of Wisconsin and even nationwide. I've had the fortune to work with Community Shares as an auditor in the past, and many of the member organizations that are here as well. I've always enjoyed our relationship in this event. I know I said this last year at this event, not that I think what I said last year was memorable enough for any of you to remember it, but I mean, Kathleen didn't even remember me, and I was her auditor for like 10 years tonight. So, one of my favorite days is when Community Shares comes on site and does their campaign spiel, I guess you'd call it, and brings a member organization to talk about all the great things they do in the community. I think that's happening next Monday. Are you going to be there then? All right. Even though it's a little more boring because it's on Teams, but that's one of the best days of the year. Wegner's a big supporter of community shares. Our partners match dollar for dollar everything that our employees donate to community shares. So we really appreciate all that community shares does. We're proud to be a partner with Community Shares and to sponsor the Liesl Blockstein Community Leadership Award. While I only met Marin tonight, it's evident. I read your bio before I came here tonight, and it's evident just based on your past and current work and volunteerism that you're passionate about showing leadership and promoting social change, and very deserving of this award. I'd now like to introduce our nominator, Anne, representing Wisconsin Conservation Voices, to present the award to our winner.
Let's go. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I'm extremely honored to be here. What a beautiful night for the Community Shares of Wisconsin to share all these wonderful people with us. I'm honored that I was able to nominate my dear friend and brother, Mark Denning. On our way here, and we were driving around when we got into the city, here to the Union, and we were talking about how we're both elders. I'm like, yeah, we're both elders. I can't really, because we've known each other since we were like 19 and 18. And at the same time, we said, so where's our parking pass? You might know what he meant by that, hey? But Mark and I were both born on the Menominee Reservation. I'm an enrolled member, Poso. I'm the daughter of Edith and Sparky Waka. And Mark left the reservation when he was 8 years old and came to Milwaukee. Well, I left when I was 18 and came to Milwaukee, and that's when our paths crossed. And since that time, I've been able to develop this wonderful relationship with a strong, giving man who can take a tragedy and find something good to share with people. He's suffered some great losses, but that doesn't define who Mark is. It defines that he's a giver. He's always there to help. He speaks to classes about our culture. He actually helped me develop my cultural passion. Growing up on a reservation, it was a time when we weren't really encouraged or to follow our culture, our ways. But my father got some of that into me, but Mark really helped me find my way. And Mark also, and I'll never be able to thank you enough, helped me with my son who attempted suicide and survived. Mark's always giving, and he's always there. And he went from a res boy to a guy on a battleship, training people on how to deal with other cultures, and he worked for the CIA. Doesn't it sound like I'm making it up? But I am honored to nominate him for the Liesl Blockstein Community Leadership Award because his passion is it's so strong, and he's always there no matter what time of day or night it is. He's there for our community. He develops programs to help people. He developed a unity fire during COVID where we would pray for people who were ill. And he also, I'm blessed to say, included me on one of these unity fires where I was fighting breast cancer during the pandemic, and I survived, yeah. And I was so touched that he even thought about me during that time when there was so much going on. But it is my pleasure and honor to introduce my brother, my friend, a mentor, Mark Denning, why went in for all you've done for us, and you continue to do for all peoples. You got to take a picture. That's a pen.
Nu wena boju and we magna do. Narwe benezi indigenous cause the main do them. On a schnabe, nominate Lenape, Delaware, Mohikanak, Oniotiaga, French, English, Indao, to all that is, to all that was, and to all that ever will be. We send our greetings. And I shared with you my name, which is that place between the pine snakes who are on this earth and the thunderbirds above, and all those things and places that occupy in between. That is what I was named by our Grand Chief in the Medewan Lodge. Medewan is one of the oldest religions in Wisconsin. It was outlawed until the year 1978. And so when I'm coming to you here, it kind of goes against who we are as Native people. It really does, because we're supposed to be about humility. And having something with your name on it kind of flies in the face of that. And so your whole relatives, they call you and you go, what are you doing? So I was like, here's my deal. The last time I was in Madison, I spoke about a mile, 1.2 mile, for about a mile and a half from here, a little church. Next thing you know, I'm on a jet plane to Washington, D.C. on Pennsylvania Avenue, looking over thousands of people, thousands as far as the eye can see. And there's a guy named Barber up there with me, huge guy, and he's talking about a moral change that our country needs. And he wanted my voice to be there to represent it. And I did the best of my ability. And whenever I would speak, there was this thing that people would do, and it was this 2 steps forward, not 1 step back. And that has always been with me. Believe me when I tell you this. Each and every one of the organizations here that are sponsoring, the organizations that have nominated and brought us winners, you're helping people that can't be heard, the invisible, the people who aren't often noticed except for a look or a glance through the car window, or teenagers that are passed by and commented upon. And you make them visible. So it's to you I give thanks. And to you, the volunteers who are unseen, there's this word in our culture, okodewin, that means the state of having a fearless heart. Our language is a verb-driven language. So when someone looks at you and talks of courage and bravery, they're saying what is inside of you is a fearless heart. And that is what we need, especially now. Especially now. Mental health issues, things that our children suffer, they're in your communities now. For us, these things have been visited upon us for generations. There's no lecture there. It's just a fact. As I look at you in the service organizations and I think of the people who wanted to do well by my people, the people I belong to, I think of my grandfather, Jim Caldwell, who made 2 houses, one on the Menominee Reservation in Neopit, a small town where the family lived. And then there was a small cabin where he and I lived. And no one else came there. And I often wondered why he isolated himself. I often wondered why he had rages like some of our veterans do. More our veterans rage because of what they've seen in the streets and what our country can do. And some of them need to be blocked in their rooms with bookcases in front of it as they throw themselves against the door. These are the stories we don't see. But those kinds of things have been visited upon us. When my grandfather was sent to Carlisle boarding school, he had a sister. Cloudy is what they called her. She was beautiful. And her mom said, Shaman, that she was so beautiful, they needed to keep her. She died at the age of 16 of what nobody knows. And where she's buried, nobody knows. And my grandfather never spoke of it. Never. Not one word. The story of my community and the story that I share with you isn't just my story. It's the story of every Native person in this room. And it isn't just what happened to a 16-year-old girl in 1916. It is about a man who had a heart that wanted to continue to live himself, had a family, but realized his limitations without adequate health care or medical care, isolating himself from a family he wanted to keep safe. And then me giving everything he could so I could give back to our community, hold fires for those who are departed during our crisis. We couldn't touch those who were dying. We couldn't be with people in hospitals. But we have the love of the Spirit. And people needed to see it. And so in Indian country, in the international waters of Minnewaukee, we burned fires for 4 days straight. Anybody could come at any time. We saw gang members. We saw cops. We saw them before they went into the demonstrations, and we saw them come after. Because our grandfather, our Creator, was present. And when the fire, our grandfather looks at you, he doesn't see gender. He doesn't see he, she, they, our Creator doesn't see how old you are, where you're from, or the color of your skin. Our creation sees a fearless heart that needs to be uncovered. The destroyer never sleeps. Destroyer walks among us. Sometimes he walks among us with a friendly face. Sometimes he walks against us as Native people in the form of race-based mascots and logos, where people pretend they know who we are. And they have images of us that are based in the past that damage our children's psyche. And people defend it. This is why we need organizations that believe in humanity, because our schools are for all children. This is why we have fires. This is why people came to my home for 2 years, most of it spending in a room with nothing on the walls, with nothing on the windows. They came to my home, and they took me to our medicine lodge, and they put me against a tree. And over 300 people sang for my life. It's a dramatic story. But each of you lives that story every day when you do your work. And for those of you that sponsor these events, you may not see it, but that work that I talked of is being done every day by the people that you sit at the tables with. And so I want to end with this. When people don't see you, people die. During COVID-19, in a democracy that is to serve all people, and having some experiences with the military as I have, I met lots of Native people serving our country and fighting for it. This is not un-American in what I am going to say about our democracy and what I'm going to say about your vote and why it matters. And why it matters to the people that don't have a voice, that swim in our rivers, that fly in our skies, and that crawl amongst us. And when we open our 2 gifts in the morning, have songs to lift those who are suffering. We need to speak for them. We need to represent them. And we need to remember them because they hold us up, even if we don't see them. I wanted to say about COVID-19, we are 2% of the United States population, number 2 in transmission and number 1 in fatalities. Our children have been exposed to loss after loss after loss after loss after loss after loss after loss. And we send them to schools. who have no idea what it is to be Native in this country. And that is why I wanted to be in this room with you, because it will be a Native voice that is being lifted up by you and is being heard. Because the people that need to be in this room are not in this room. You will take these stories with you. You will champion these stories because you cannot do anything less. I've done a lot of things in my life. Now I'll end with this. When Annie asked me the question about what I'm most proud of, it's an idea that it can be here tomorrow. If we do it right, you will too. And our kids will have a world that looks very much like the one we have. And they deserve it. Every child matters. So I'm wearing this shirt, Orange Shirt Day Saturday, to remember the survivors and victims of the boarding schools and the residential schools in the United States and Canada, ripped from their parents, lives changed forever. When you see a Native person, you see the residue of it. We are valiant, we are strong, we are powerful, a fearless heart. Do that, honey.
Thank you, Maren. Your words are piercing, and I hope they were heard. When you don't see us, we die. Next is our final award of the night, and that's the Linda Sundberg Civil Rights Defender Award. This year, our winner is Denise Jess, who was nominated by the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Denise Jess, Linda Sundberg Civil Rights Defender Award, nominated by the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired. Image of Denise Jess, smiling with a blue shirt. Denise is sitting in a white room wearing a black shirt with a blue and purple shawl.
I'm Denise Jess, the Executive Director of the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired. And I also am a person who lives with blindness. I have been legally blind since birth. The Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired is a 71-year-old organization. We were founded in 1952 by people living with blindness.
Melanie is sitting in a white room with a navy blue blazer and thin blue and black rimmed glasses.
As we live all our lives, we are concerned about voting. And I know this has been an area you've done a lot of work in, is trying to be sure that people who have vision loss can also vote.
Voting is not easy for people with disabilities, and we are underrepresented at the polls pretty significantly.
Image of Denise using accessible voting machine.
We partner across disability groups and aging groups to do legislative work, policy work, and education to help people understand those barriers, and also for the voter themselves to know what their rights are, that they have a right to ask for assistance. They have a right to use the accessible voting equipment. They don't have to prove disability, that those things are there for them.
Some people will be seeing this interview we're doing, and I wonder what you would hope they will gather from it, what people will walk away after they see this and think about in terms of people with vision loss.
You know, it's so easy for people with disabilities, people with vision loss, to be invisible in our communities. There's an old adage in the disability justice movement that says nothing about us without us.
Image of Denise testifying.
It's not my blindness that makes my world small. It's the attitudes and the barriers around me that make my world small. So being remembered, being included, having my voice honored, as you know, that experience is my truth, I think is what expands the world for people with disabilities, and it expands everybody's world.
Please welcome to the stage Angela Hansen of Heartland Credit Union, who is our award sponsor.
Good evening. My name is Angela Hansen. I am the President and CEO of Heartland Credit Union. For more than 30 years, Heartland has been involved with Community Shares of Wisconsin, whether it be through workplace giving, volunteering, or sponsoring the Linda Sundberg Civil Rights Defender Award. Heartland Credit Union is a not-for-profit financial cooperative and has been serving Dane County for over 87 years. Through our cooperative spirit, we believe in people helping people. We do this by supporting local initiatives, giving back to our communities, serving the underserved, offering inclusive financial education, and advocating on behalf of our members. Denise Jess and the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired do much of the same work, giving back to the community, practicing inclusivity, and advocating for those living with disabilities, including vision loss. I would now like to introduce our nominator, Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired, to present the award to our winner.
Advocacy is the lifeblood of change. It is really the power behind all of the positive changes that we have seen in our society. Whether it's about human service, whether it's about civil rights, whether it's about personal rights, it is really about standing up and letting your voice be heard for causes that matter. And it's actually about a little bit more than that. It's about being able to bring people together to create a ripple effect that goes across borders and goes across demographics. I can think of no other person who exemplifies more the idea of advocacy in action than Denise Jess. Through all of her professional career, she has shown unparalleled leadership in her advocacy to enhance the dignity, the achievement, and the independence of people in Wisconsin who live with vision loss. Denise was nominated for this award by the staff of the Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired. And in her nomination, they listed the many organizations to which she belongs. And the list is long. And it's not just a long list of belonging, because in many of these organizations, she has a leadership position. But membership in these organizations that span local, state, and national levels, she brings even more. She has a great gift for communication. And with that gift, she has been able to form relationships with influential people, both inside and outside of public policy issues. I just want to tell you of just a few things that Denise has accomplished with her leadership. For example, she has worked very closely with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. And in that capacity, she has greatly increased their awareness of the issues involved for non-drivers in the state of Wisconsin. And in so doing, they have developed now a mapping tool that enables policymakers to determine where else in Wisconsin other transit options may be needed. In addition, she has been a strong advocate for accessible pedestrian crossing places, and she has worked tirelessly to see that these particular things are installed at key intersections throughout the state. Her work for the Disability Voters Coalition has been absolutely key, because in it she has laid the foundation so that people can vote privately and independently, whether they have vision or not. And this has been extremely important because in recent years we have seen more legislation coming in that is trying to limit the rights of people with disabilities to participate in their democracy. And I would add, a pox upon them all. In all of her work, Denise has been a champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this has become a centerpiece at the council for all of its interactions. And in this time that we're in now, particularly, advocating for change requires patience, it requires persistence, it requires an unremitting commitment to the values of dignity and fairness. And Denise has managed to consistently demonstrate her ability to connect with people across the state of Wisconsin, people who can influence change that will greatly better the lives of people who live with vision disability. I can assure you that we will continue to see her advocating and to be a strong advocate for everything that she believes in, because she shares Stevie Wonder's philosophy, who said, we should be sure to make every single thing accessible to every single person. And I am so pleased to have the honor to present this Linda Sundberg Advocacy Award for Civil Rights Defender to nobody more deserving than Denise Jess. Oh, so we're gonna have our picture made.
Kenny, do you want us to turn it around?
Yeah, okay. Myself out of here.
So it's really pretty awesome to come to the stage with Tracy Chapman. Thank you for that. Really, I am so moved right now. I'm going to take a deep breath and find my feet and just have so incredibly much gratitude. So first, let's do a tremendous shout out to our ASL interpreters tonight. They have been phenomenal. I want to really lift up the things that have lived here tonight that have created accessibility, equity, and inclusion, and welcome for those of us with disabilities, because I want us to celebrate those things and never take them for granted. So our ASL interpreters, definitely. And they're just so beautiful interpreting all of what is spoken here tonight. Bria rocked it on the video by adding image descriptions and captions. This ramp is wonderful because everybody can move to the stage at the pace that's comfortable for them and safe for them. And having music played while you enter the stage and leave it is so cool because you can move at the pace that's just right for you. There's no need to rush. Yeah, it's really beautiful. So these are things that, for me, help me know that I'm respected and that I've got physical and psychic safety. And I think they're probably things that benefit all of us in this room. It's a big room. How many of you appreciated the image descriptions of the things that you saw on the screen? Because it's like, yeah, I don't quite know what's happening up there. So way to go, CSW staff. You rocked it. And this is also available virtually. I know that we've got folks watching it tonight in the comfort of their living rooms, and particularly important for folks that are immunocompromised or may not have transportation to get here to be with us tonight, or for a variety of reasons. We create and expand inclusion when we do these things. So I am so incredibly deeply touched to be awarded the Linda Sudberg Civil Rights Defender Award. Linda did incredible things in her life to create greater equity and justice. And so her heart is in this award, and for everyone throughout the years who have received it. And tonight, I'm so honored to accept it on behalf of people with vision loss and people with disabilities in our community, including my many staff and board members who are here with us tonight. Together, we lift up the voices of people with disabilities. Our mission at the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired is to promote the dignity and empowerment of people in Wisconsin living with vision loss through advocacy, education, and vision services. Dignity and empowerment. Those two words speak to my soul because they are critical to changing the narrative around what it means to live with disability in our society. For far too long, disability has been seen as an unfortunate circumstance of the individual without recognizing systemic ableism. We are often perceived as objects of curiosity, of discomfort and pity, and way too often we're perceived as being helpless and not contributors to our society. So it's time to have us shift that narrative, and dignity and empowerment are two critical keys for doing that. Every day I get to witness empowerment and dignity in action in our organization as I watch our talented and committed and kind and compassionate staff work with folks. Whether someone is new to vision loss and calls us to ask, so now what? Or someone is learning the critical skills of safely and confidently navigating our physical and digital worlds. Or someone has in their hands the tools that they need so they can continue to do the things they love independently that bring them joy. That confidence, as it grows, that sense of self-worth and inherent worth grow, and that sense of individual empowerment grows. But individual empowerment has to exist with systemic change. There are so incredibly many barriers that those of us with disabilities face on a regular basis. We often can't get those barriers are persistent, they're pervasive, and they're systemic. So we cannot, for example, get to the places we need to go on our schedule and in safe ways because of our lack of transportation, not only in the city of Madison, but throughout the state. 31% of Wisconsinites do not drive. That might be folks with disabilities. It might be folks who cannot afford a vehicle or could not afford driver's education. It might be folks who are unable to be licensed. And it includes people who choose not to drive. That's a significant population, 1/3 of Wisconsinites. People with disabilities struggle to access quality health care. Again, maybe due to transportation or other forms of access. And if folks with disabilities are also people of color, Indigenous and Black, people who are rural, people who have fewer economic resources, that struggle for health care is even greater, leaving us with critical comorbidities and chronic health conditions and a diminished sense of well-being. We struggle to get access to our right to vote, whether it's due to lack of transportation to be able to get the required identification to vote or to get to the polls, or when we're handed a ballot that is inaccessible to us because we cannot see it to be able to read it and mark it. Every day, decisions are made about us, without us. So that's why our public policy work is just so incredibly critical. I am so moved by, lifted up by, and inspired by my colleagues and my partners who are doing just such important advocacy work along with me. This is not a job for one, it's a job for many. And so together we are paving access to transportation, pedestrian safety, better access to health care, education, employment, and securing the right for every voter with disabilities who wants to vote in every single election, privately and independently. So I have an invitation for all of us, because I think that I'm probably a dyed-in-the-wool advocate, so I can't be at a podium without an ask. So here we go. It's late, so I'll be gentle. But really, my invitation to all of us is that we continue to nurture and strengthen our partnerships and our collaborations, because when we do that, we collectively lift up all of our voices. So beginning to ask ourselves and continuing to ask ourselves the questions of, how do our needs intersect with yours? How do we share and rejoice in each other's liberation? So tonight, I want to end with thanking Sherry and the entire Community Shares staff for this beautiful event. It's amazing, and it's not a light task. So thank you for doing the incredible work. Thank you so much to the supporters and the sponsors who helped make this event possible. And oh my gosh, I'm so touched by all the other award recipients tonight. Your stories will live big in my heart. So let's celebrate tonight and rejoice in each other's accomplishments. And then tomorrow, get back to work to create an equitable and just world for all of us. Have a great night, everybody.
Well, everyone, just want to take the moment. We are now at the end of this evening. So I just want to close by just letting you know that in tonight's opening and closing event, you've learned many names of individuals, corporate, and nonprofit sponsors who help support this event. And we extend, on behalf of Community Shares and all of you, a huge debt of gratitude to all our sponsors for this year's Change Mega Award event. Thank you so much. For those who are at home or online, you can show your support of 50 years of social and environmental justice funding with your donation to Community Shares on the Community Shares of Wisconsin website at www.communityshares.com. So your donation tonight will help ensure that 6 nonprofits will receive cash awards, and so we can continue our work to build the social and environmental justice movement in Wisconsin. Thank you again to all of our sponsors and supporters. And again, congratulations, a true deep congratulations to all of our award winners and backyard heroes. Thank you, everybody. And just one quick note, something that I learned from our Julie tonight. Please have a wonderful rest of your week and a peaceful and a restorative weekend. Take care, everyone.